the second question is why C# dot? Why maintenance? Silence maintenance is very important in the class. If you have any other disturbances, immediately mute yourself. Why C#? Because I have to concentrate the presentation. Okay, that is your responsibility. Why C#.net? So the second question is, now you are learning C#.net. Not only you, every .NET developer has to learn C#.net. So question is, why? What is the role of C#.net? Why every .NET developer has to learn the C#.net? Come on.
To define the functionality of the application.
Define the functionality of the application, right? So now this is the time where we have to understand whenever you are developing an application, we need one technology and one language. Now we people have to understand what is the role of language, what is the role of technology. On that day also I said I will give you the clarity about that. So here, right, I want to develop a web application. So Kalyani, you tell me, if I want to develop a web application by using .NET platform, what I need?
Is .NET technology and C#.NET
technology called ASP.NET, and we need a language called C#.NET. Next, I want to develop a Windows. I want to develop a Windows application. Right now, I want to develop a Windows application. What is the technology?
Windows Forms.
We need a technology called Windows Forms. We need a technology called Windows Forms, and we need a language called C#.NET. Right? So I want to develop a web service. Okay. So whenever I want to develop a web service, I need a technology called WCF and a language called C#.NET. Finally, we observed one thing. To develop any type of application, we need one technology and one language. So everywhere you need a language called C#.NET. Let's try to understand what is the role of C#.NET, why C#.NET. So for example, let's take the example of a web application. In this web application, let us assume you are developing a web page. Let's implement a web page called a login page. We want to develop a login page. When you are developing a login page means login page is a part of what application? Web application. As part of web application development, I am developing a login page. Whenever login page I am developing. In this login page, what you need exactly? You need a text box, another text box. First text box is accepting UID. Second text box is accepting password. Here you have a button. What is this button, guys?
Sign in button.
Login button. So actually, what is the functionality of login page? First of all, end user will enter what? End user will enter what in login page? End user has to enter username. Suppose he is entered username as Ravi. He has to enter password. Let's say he has entered password as ABC. Then end user will click a button called login. Whenever end user will click login button, what is the functionality of this login page? What is the functionality of this login page? What it will do?
Will verify the user ID.
That accepted user ID and password, it will communicate with the database. Means you will have a database. In this database, let us assume this is a database. In this database, you will have a table called user list. You have a table called users list table. Table is, let's say, users list table. That user list table will contain two columns. Number one is UID Second one is password. And UID column, user ID, the pen board is not working properly. That's why I'm unable to write very clearly. Try to understand. First column is UID, second one is password. UID column will contain all usernames. Let us assume one username is Ravi and password is ABC. Like that, it will contain thousands of users list. Whenever you click login button, what will happen? That application will communicate the database and will check the user ID and password is matching or not matching. If it is matching, it will redirect you to the next page. If it is not matching, here, here in this page only it will display the error message. Here it will display the error message. So that means your login page functionality. Login page functionality is whenever end user will click login button, it will communicate the users list table. It will communicate the users list table and will verify the user ID and password, and if both are matching, redirecting you to the next page. If both are not matching, display the error message. So this is the functionality. This is the functionality of the login page. To define this functionality of the login page, we need to write programming. We need to write program. We need to write program. Somewhere I'm getting disturbance. We need to write program. To write this program, we need a programming language. That programming language is nothing but C#.NET. That programming language is nothing but in .NET C#. Finally, we can say the role of C#.NET is to define the functionality of the application. To define the functionality of the application by using C#.NET, we are going to write a program. To write that program, we need a programming language. Due to that reason, in .NET platform, they are giving a programming language called C#.NET. Whatever application you are going to develop, in that application, the role of the C#.NET in .NET is to define the functionality of the application. We have to write a programming. And sir, what is the role of technology called ASP.NET? Then this application environment called login page controls all these things is providing by the technology. Finally, we can say technology is providing the application environment and the language is for the to define the functionality of the application. So with this we can say to define the functionality of the application you need a programming language called C#.NET. Finally, we can say why C#.NET. The answer is for C#.NET. The answer is to define the functionality of the application. Define the functionality of the application. So we can give more clarity about this when we are developing any type of application. When we are developing any type of application, to define the functionality of the application, to define the functionality of the application, we need a programming language called C#.NET. We need a programming language called C#.NET. So that is the role of C#.NET. By this we discuss